Mad Money Lightning Round is brought to you by TD Ameritrade, where smart investors get...
Yesterday, the Federal Reserve, Mr. Powell, made the announcement that he felt that the Federal Reserve was not going to raise interest rates for about 2 years. Now, I already expected that because if you've ever heard me talk about the Federal Reserve, I always talk about the fact that by keeping interest rates low, that's pretty much how they start bubbles, because what you get is you get fake economic growth due to people taking out more and more credit. So you have two things that happens, because when I make these videos, I constantly talk about the fact that putting your money in your savings account doesn't make any sense unless you just want to make sure that it's still there, simply because your savings account is earning barely any interest. I mean, the most you're going to earn in interest if you get even the highest yield savings account is probably about 1%. Thing about it is, as I've showed you with dividend payments pay you probably several dozen times that. Like, for instance, I started buying into certain companies that pay dividends in March, I believe it was, when the market was down. And because they started paying their dividends in April, May, and now June, basically I was getting $12 here, $13 here, $15 here, so forth and so on, depending upon how much of the stock I bought, because their dividend payments typically are maybe 5, 7, 10, 12%. Some companies have very, very high dividend payments. But you get punished for putting your money in the savings account. It causes people to risk their money more often in the stock market, or, I hate to say it, but people risking their money in Bitcoin. In fact, since I've been busy arguing with people about where Bitcoin is, let's take a look at Bitcoin's price. Surely that when you have this level of turmoil in the market, surely Bitcoin should be above 10,000. Oh, I guess it's not. One Bitcoin is still below 10,000. But the sad thing is, the people who are investing in things like Bitcoin as an inflation hedge, they don't understand what's going on here. What's going on here is that early money in is waiting till Bitcoin hits the $10,000 mark and they're selling off at 10,000. If you try to put your money anywhere else except a savings account, you can't be certain it's going to still be there when you come back. Now, back to the Dow. If you put your money in the stock market, yes, if you hold your stocks and you've bought in low enough so that you don't end up losing a lot of money, if you hold your stocks after you've bought in at the low, chances are you're still up even when the market just shed 1,861 points. This is the largest single day drop since March. We're basically on a roller coaster. And the sad thing, I think, the real sad thing is a lot of people don't understand the Dow either. The Dow is a handful of companies. It doesn't represent the entire stock market. If you look at the Dow, the majority of the stocks on the Dow are trillion-dollar companies like Apple and Microsoft. Like, for instance, if I just type Dow companies, I'm going to make this quick. But if I type, if you could do this shit yourself. You can look at the Dow companies, right? You can look it up yourself. If you look up these companies, all of these companies have extremely high stock prices, and these are extremely big companies. I mean, you look Boeing, Chevron, Cisco, Disney, Exxon. These are companies that I was actually telling you that you should buy into when I was talking about buying into big oil. Like, for example, Chevron right there, or Boeing. They make planes. There's not too many options to buy airplanes. Apple was at like $350, I think, and now it's down to $326. But when you understand that just these companies are the Dow, then you understand why it's asinine to get excited just because the Dow might say 30,000. Like, for instance, within the last 2 days, the Dow said 27,500, and meanwhile, you've got 42 million people unemployed. So clearly, the Dow does not represent Main Street. The Dow represents a handful of companies on Wall Street. And these are big, powerful companies. JP Morgan, McDonald's, Microsoft, basically every single name on this list you recognize. The bulk of all of the money that is in stocks is represented right here. Now, when you talk about foreign exchange and, the Forex stocks, I mean, there are a lot of companies that you may never heard of, and they represent a large amount of money overseas. But when we're talking about American stocks, these are the big money makers. So when the Dow goes up or the Dow goes down, These are the companies you're talking about. There were some companies that did not get hurt that much today, even though the majority of the Dow stocks were down today. So, what the hell is this? No, I'm not giving you any information. Who are you kidding? All right. So anyway, now a lot of people are probably upset today. Now, see, it's just like Tesla. Some people said, yeah, when you get to 1,000, you should hold your shares. I wasn't holding because I knew that 1,000 was never going to last. It may reach 1,000 again, but right now, Tesla's down to 972, and I'm out. I am out. So, what is this? Apple was down from 354. Apple shed down to 335. Microsoft was at 198. It was almost $200 a share, and it's down to 186. I was telling you guys, I was saying, yo, buy Logitech, buy AMD, put some money into Logitech AMD. When I told you these things were closer to $50, Logitech's already started going up, because you got to remember, Logitech has acquired some other companies specifically that make gaming controllers and whatnot, and they're big in web cameras and things like that. So these are big companies right here, and these companies, there's no reason Logitech and AMD, because I know AMD is fighting to try to be like NVIDIA. So these guys are going up. Eventually, AMD could hit 100, maybe even 200 eventually. These guys are going to keep fighting on the low end of computer tech because let's face it, their processors are not as good as Intel. Their GPUs are not as good as NVIDIA. However, they're persistent and they're targeting poorer people who are not willing to go out and buy a $1,000 2080 Ti or 3090 Ti video card. So AMD, I know their stock is worth more than their video cards and their CPUs. I don't want any of that stuff, but their stock, I recommend you get into. And then the big oil. The change, as you can see right here, because this is how I've organized my views, so that this way it's easier for me to make videos and talk about it. But and then, by the way, before anybody asks, this is TD Ameritrade. Every single time I make a video, somebody's like, oh, what do you use? And they ask every single time. Yes, this is TD Ameritrade. So anyway, everything lost money today. Chevron is down 821 and so forth and so on. All of these stocks lost money. But guess what? This means that if you didn't get into these things and you missed it when they started rising, now you have a chance to buy into them. Oil is not going to be down for long. One of the biggest problems with oil is that airlines use 36% of that fuel, and they're not flying right now. So that's part of the reason why oil is down. The other problem is we're not really going anywhere. It's like school hasn't started. People are driving to the stores, but that's it. They have nowhere else to go. They're not traveling that much. So the issue is we're not using that much oil. I was at the gas station at BP. Gas was like $2.22, and that's up from $1.99 over the last 2 months. It was at $1.99. That was about the lowest I saw it, and I saw it at BJ's. So the thing about it is oil, if you bought these oil stocks that I told you about when I made the video, I am an oil man, you were up on pretty much all of them. But because the Dow decided to decline and there was a massive sell-off after they found out that you got 42 million people unemployed in Trump's America, and now they've got a goddamn autonomous state out in Seattle called Chaz, and shit is just going crazy left and right, and people are tearing down monuments and ripping up Confederate flags. It's like, yeah, the market sentiment, you see, they're talking about that right now. They're talking about these Democrat-run cities went to lawlessness. It's like, yo, listen, bottom line is, yeah, there's some craziness and everything, but Trump's the law and order president, so he should be able to handle the law and order. He's the law and order president, so he's going to handle it. He's going to send the troops to retake Chaz, the autonomous zone. What a joke. So anyway, all of these oil stocks that I told you about, all of them are down. Let's see, NBR was at a high. That shit went way up and it flew up. And everybody was like, wow, man, thanks for telling me about NBR. Thanks for telling me about, and now it's down. Problem is, everything's down. It's just that simple. Everything's down. Nobody was pretty much left untouched. Oil took a major hit. But guess what? That's your chance to get in. If you paid attention and you looked at any of these oil stocks that you saw were hitting highs that you didn't expect them to hit, then now is your chance to buy them if you missed them before. I would especially aim for the cheaper ones like TTI and DNR, because the thing about it is, in the short term, we have some serious problems. We've been warned that the job numbers were going to cause another dip in the stock market, and everybody's been saying it, and now it looks like it finally happened. The Dow shed 1,800 points. There's no reason why it can't shed another 1,800 tomorrow. Now, I don't want that to happen, but there's no reason it can't happen. So my bottom line is buy low, sell high. That's the bottom line. Buy low, sell high. And it's funny, I was listening to that hedge fund manager, I believe Peter Lynch, and one of his rules for trading stocks, never fall in love with stocks, and you don't have to rush. He said you don't have to rush. I was watching a stock that I wanted real bad, and I put in a bid, and they didn't like my bid, so they rejected it, and I was really angry, and I was thinking about upgrading the bid and spending more money in order to buy the stock. And then, sure enough, today happens, all that money went right through the floor. So had I bought that stock and, did my usual 10,000 shares and paid, let's say I paid $700 to buy 10,000 shares, right now I would have lost about $300 or $400 on that one trade just because of today. However, if the bleeding continues tomorrow and it doesn't pick back up till Monday, because I'm pretty sure these things are going to come back as the economy reopens, but the bleeding is happening right now. All of the airlines are down. I was talking in the last video I made about the airlines being up. Well, guess what? Today they're down. That's just it. Boeing was up to $200 and something, and now it's down to 170. What does that tell you? Well, it could keep going down a little bit, but the bottom line is Boeing is a strong company. It's on the Dow. It's a strong company. It makes planes. It makes parts for planes. Boeing's not really going to go anywhere. The issue is this economy has to reopen, and if it doesn't, well, then you see things like this happen where you lose $33 in one day. So Boeing was up to $203, and it lost $33 in just one day. I don't know what it lost yesterday, but it's down $33. So Boeing is still worth buying. The problem is, in the short term, you're risking your money getting into it. Now, also, notice this. JetBlue lost $1.52, but JetBlue, they're not going nowhere. JetBlue flights to Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, all that, they're not going nowhere. American Airlines, they lost $2.64. Delta lost $4.44, but Delta was at $30 yesterday. If you missed out on the run-up, now you know where the strong companies are. Those are the ones that you can buy into. When the Dow does return, that's when these things go up again. All these stocks, they took their hits. Medicinal marijuana, I started with 10,000 shares in this, so I'm down, 0.0022 cents on each share, because I was at like 0.021 or something. Bottom line is, it's almost better not to look, because on these down days, see, the problem with the Trump economy is he talks up the economy. The Federal Reserve is doing their manipulation in the background. The bottom line is, right now, it's a roller coaster, and there's no telling how much money you're going to lose before this is over. So here we go, lithium mining stock. That's, everybody's down. But, if you bought into this, you didn't lose much money. You only lost small amounts of money. But that's just it. And this was my watch list. But I am so happy that I didn't try to be greedy and wait Tesla out, because Tesla did go up. I think Tesla was at $1,025, but I dipped and I got out of there because I knew they were never going to maintain that for, it was at $1,027. The last time I saw it was $1,025. Yeah, if I could have known that we were going to have such a major down day, I could have held it to $1,025, but hey, fuck it. I'm out. I made the money that I'm going to make, and I'm out. And I'm upset that I can't predict a quick sell-off like that. But the bottom line is, I didn't get caught under $9,974. I'm pretty sure a lot of people sold off at $1,000, in fact. But then again, it's obvious. A lot of people did sell off at $1,000. That's the reason why it's down $51. A lot of people did sell off. But Apple is still going strong. It was funny because when they did the split, I was trying to convince friends to take money and put it into Apple to buy Apple. It was $90 a share. I was like, listen, take $1,000 and just buy Apple. And he, oh, well, where am I getting $1,000 from? Well, what you're gonna have to do is take bag lunch instead of going to your stupid Starbucks every day for that dragon fruit coffee garbage. Take the $1,000, buy Apple. Some of them listened, some of them didn't. The ones who listened, well, they're at $340 a share right now. The ones who didn't, well, they're out. And the people I told to buy Alibaba I don't have listed here because that's on a different portfolio. I keep my portfolio separate. But he sold his Alibaba and he's down. I told him, I said, no, don't sell it. But he sold, so, it happens. So when Alibaba went up to $200, I am making a point to grind it in his face every single time I see Alibaba make a new high. I'm like, well, we're doing really good over at Alibaba. It's too bad you sold, huh? So that's just that. So my thing is, yeah, it's down. A lot of the gains you probably made have been erased. But keep in mind, it's not going to be down indefinitely. When the economy is fully reopened, all of these things are going back up. Either you're in it or you're not.